in a comp I like a lot. Getting to go on a Xayah Rakan is a big deal. It's going to change how Wild Turtle team fights, I think, for the better, and it's going to change how Ignar roams. And as the second best support this year, the only man right behind Vulcan, getting him at his best pick is going to change the texture a lot. I like this draft for FlyQuest, but as you mentioned, Jack, Cloud9 get a lot of champs that are going to work really, really well for them. You like the Thresh to help the Aphelios stay safe. You like the Rumble into the Syndra as well. And that Aatrox, we know Licorice is dominant.
Yeah, at first glance, I'm completely okay with what both teams did here. You can look at FlyQuest draft and see all the power picks and the fact that they got Rakan, and you could definitely hindsight this one and say, how did Cloud9 let them get these things? But we've seen Cloud9 make good drafts look bad and make, great drafts look average. And so much of it has been with how quickly they move around the map, how well they play together, the way they control vision. And if they can close this one out with the current draft they have, as we mentioned, it would be the most dominant individual split in LCS history.
And it's Cloud9 building off their own records, and it'd be fun to see them do it with this squad that has never won domestically in North America before, but we're ready to go into this game to see who can take it over the line in Game 3. I do want to mention a small point of history. Cloud9 2-0 up on FlyQuest in this series. The last best of 5 that Cloud9 or FlyQuest played were 3-1, where the losing team had a dominant Game 3 win. EG had one over FlyQuest, EG had one over Cloud9 on those ways to those 3-1 victories. So maybe have more of the same happen, where FlyQuest does turn it around.
Yep, and just to note, this is currently 2-0 for Cloud9, unlike the 1-0 you see at the top of the screen over here. And early game, I think it is really important to focus on the jungle pathing and what happens to the mid lane push, because this Syndra Rumble matchup is key. If, in my opinion, if the Syndra Pantheon plays perfect and paths around mid lane, it beats the Rumble Jarvan. But if you let the Rumble push with impunity and not get punished when he's burned his cooldowns while shoving the wave, then the Rumble can start moving into River, and that's what C9 is kind of hoping happens. So let's watch where the early wards are. Let's watch where Santorin passed, because he has kind of been the master of the pre-3-minute gank.
Alrighty, once again, not a lot of early aggression in the very early game. We've seen a couple of teams go for invades, late sweeper plays, but ultimately in this game, we're going to see not quite as much happen. We did have that prior blue buff steal from Nagragas of Cloud9 in Game 2. This time around, they're going to let the teams play their respective sides of the map. Red buff leash for both junglers. Santorin going to go red towards base and a starting item, easily going to the Raptors, then probably top side. And the Jarvan going to clear towards his blue buff as well.
And you can notice a lot of topside river wards by FlyQuest, so you'd expect power people to cheat a little bit towards that side. What we've seen, some of the clever Jarvan ganks, is actually when they start red, but then loop around to the blue side to get the gank in before they do that. Blabber has actually lied very little on what some junglers there would consider a cheese gank, where they're actually foregoing efficient farm in order to get a surprising gank. C9 has so much trust in their laner's abilities. Blabber's usually taking very efficient early game paths, and this game is no different.
Yeah, I really am a fan of Blabber's efficiency. One thing I've seen of him more than other junglers is I think he's been hyper efficient in what things he smites. For example, on Jarvan, who's pretty much purely physical damage, right? He's smiting blue buff, the highest armor target in his conventional jungle clear. Small things like that can save you a second or a second and a half, and sometimes it means you're at a gank before your opponents are ready, or you're able to take a recall that you couldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, and he's about to finish his 5th camp, whereas Pantheon is only on his 4th. So in terms of overall pace, that's an advantage since Santorin hasn't gone for his normal gank timing. I mean, looking at the wave right now, this is what happens if the Syndra is playing aggressively and is not punished by ganks. You can actually get that level 3 shove on the Jarvan, but Santorin actually needs to be here to protect, not actually ganking at the perfect timing. If Blabber would have been there about 10 seconds earlier and skipped Wolves, maybe he would have been able to get a gank off onto PoE, but so far so good for FlyQuest's early Syndra.
Yeah, PoE playing it pretty smart. He did ward topside river and then cheated to that side as the wave pushed in. Wasn't realistically easily ganked and able to play it out pretty well. Licorice and Solo battling. Suddenly 3 members top lane. The flash stun. Licorice burns his own flash, but he will go down 3 games in a row. FlyQuest grabs first blood off Santorin.
They burned 2 flashes for it, but I still love that play. Power of Evil shoving that first wave, a lot of times a Syndra will go back for an early recall there, get like a second Doran's, and that is probably what C9 thought was happening, but just chaining the CC, not even perfectly, just getting the Pantheon stun into the burst of everyone else is enough to bring Licorice down, and also, very importantly, getting that first blood onto Syndra.
And again, a cool pickup here for Licorice. Loves getting that one early on in the Ornn matchup. A bit more sustained to stay healthy in the 1v1, as well as gold income down the line. I think it is an underrated item. I really am a fan of Cole as an early purchase, especially if you are forced to an awkward recall. We'll see how that pays off down the line as a much worse recall comes through for Nisqy. He grabs a Ruby Crystal, and that's it. Power of Evil, of course, going to feel a little bit more comfortable with the extra mana regen and the extra ability power. But for now, going to play a little bit farther back, as it is a flashless Syndra who is a gank target.
Yeah, big old target on PoE's back, especially when Nisqy hits level 6. But the fact that he's been able to get that early recall Blasting Wand does increase his threat in lane if he has Santorin, what we call shadowing him, where anytime you would go on PoE, Santorin would be able to pounce after. And Santorin's level 5. He got a lot of experience off that assist goal top, as well as the lane that he was able to shove in. So as we continue to mention, the mid jungle has been so critical in C9's success, and it is PoE who is taking control of it, at least for the first 5 minutes in this game 3.
Also, speaking of control, bot lane so far going well for the Cloud9 side. We know Xayah Rakan is one of the absolute scariest and most powerful bot lane duos, but C9, knowing the matchup was coming, having the Thresh ready to go, feeling pretty good about that matchup. 5.5 minutes in, they've already shoved in the bot lane and gone for Drake control. This bot lane is going the way it has kind of all series long, which is that Sven and Vulcan, by far the best bot lane in the league, completely lane dominant.
I think that's a really good call out in terms of matchups. In the regular split, C9, their entire starting roster was first team All-Pro. There's no argument that they were all the best performing in their role. But in this series in particular, the biggest gap, so to speak, has been the bottom lane. PoE and Nisqy have been playing pretty even. Solo's even had CS advantages as an Ornn into Licorice and has been playing quite well. And Santorin has been getting a lot of early game first bloods. A lot of it has actually been Sven and Vulcan pushing the tempo down bottom lane, getting kills, getting...
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 are getting a lot done here through bot lane. We knew Ignar was going to be one of the big conditions here for FlyQuest, number 2 all-pro support, right? And it's not from his laning, it's from his roaming, it's from his mid-game plays. Right now that he's being pushed out of the lane, he's been unable to win the lane itself, of course. One plate already gone bot side, and now 4v1 Turtle is equalized. He's taking turret shots. He brings up Summoner Heal. There's the knockup. There's Ignar showing. Turtle's going to flash with exhaust on him. That kill's going to come through. Finds the root, but Blabber drops aggro perfectly. That tower dive goes so incredibly well. Cloud9 get a kill on the board and lose nothing for it.
And that's level 6. Nisqy 20 CS behind PoE, but he's the one able to threaten that. Also, really crucially, Wild Turtle unable to flash the Jarvan EQ, cannot buy enough time for everyone else to follow through. And that's the bot lane that we talked about. Getting Wild Turtle down, getting those plates, keeps C9 in it.
It's looking pretty good, but I do want to point out FlyQuest are 600 gold ahead. If there is to be a Game 3 win, FlyQuest have the makings of it right now, where they're looking really good mid lane. They've got a jungle lead, they've got a top lane lead. Definitely possible to do. Do not want to count FlyQuest out right now. Cloud9, though, still going to do their best to run around the map. Blabber actually being given the blue buff. Of course, no reason to hand it over to a Rumble. That actually means a bit more golden XP towards him. Nice little stun. Here comes the Ornn Horn. Perfect timing. Nisqy does have flash, but can't get away from the knockup. Here's the rest of the chase, but they can't get the rest. And PoE is dropped to 100 health. Poor Wild Turtle left alone in the 1v2, and Cloud9 win a mid lane dive by killing bot lane.
2 plays go heavily in the favor of C9. Riddle me this, freak. Nisqy gets ganked by 4 and lives. Turtle gets ganked by 2 and dies. That's just the story of this series for FlyQuest. Nisqy with the extra move speed from his heal at the very end of that one makes it so Ignar can't quite reach. FlyQuest falls short, and as you saw, Turtle dies again.
And credit really goes to Nisqy's early defensive itemization options. Rushed Merc Trace with Ruby Crystal. That is a lot of the difference here. Turtle cannot do anything to survive this. He's not even got turret aggro in his health right now.
Yeah, well, the thing he might have been able to do to survive is if he would have been able to avoid that knockup, but even then, he's still either up against a Flame Spitter or an Aphelios, he's going to die. One extra call-out I'll give to Niski surviving that 4-man gank is he also has the Nimbus Cloak on Rumble, so when he uses summoner spells, he gets that little extra bit of move speed, and we might see a Rift Herald fight right here. Nice flash.
Another flash play, ulti straight up back and forth. Pee-wee able to get away from Equalizer early, and Niski is running out of health. Santorin's on the board for one. Blabber having a hard time against Pee-wee, but that Syndra's on the wrong side. Flash up broken, not going to land. Next knock-up, neither. Pee-wee goes for the play, but it's going to be turned back around. And Vulcan's on the board for one. It's a trade of kills on mid laners, though.
Really explosive fight right there as C9 kind of greedily continues this Rift Herald. And Niski's in base.
Yeah, well, it's Niski running back down as Power of Evil's also respawning back. Sven and Vulcan feel comfortable down, pushing through the mid lane. They look for the hook on Ignar, not going to juke it the way he thought, though, and as the turret comes down, unlikely FlyQuest contest here. Easy smite when he wants it, well enough in health, and Blabber is going to yet again claim another pre-10-minute Rift Herald.
Whew. One thing that I noticed at the start of the fight there is Vulcan is just always there. The Boots of Swiftness completed now, not mobility, but just overall able to move throughout the fight. This is essentially what happened. C9 tried to peel onto FlyQuest. PoE is able to walk off the Equalizer, and Niski dies. But then look at all this sidestep stuff. Power of Evil probably wins this fight against Blabber if Vulcan isn't here. The Lantern pull right at the end there to swoop Blabber away from the Syndra W. Crucial in turning that fight in the favor of C9.
Yeah, definitely a big deal. Good heads-up play and good heads-up click from all sides as Cloud9 are once again back on the map with a lot of control, with a big lead. They've got 24 CS up in the bot lane. Ready to push down the turret now as well as Vence cleared the wave. Turret plate number 2 is going to drop instantly. This is nearly enough for the charge to kill it wholesale. They're going to put some more damage in. As long as Vulcan stays at that distance, he won't steal any gold. Walks in for the rest of it, though, and he will share in some of that first turret income. 237 goes to him as well as Blabber and Sven. Mid lane under a bit of fire, and it's maybe a single plate kill as Pantheon shows up. Santorin finds the stun.
Oh, man.
Big damage on Niski, but now they got to run away again. Here comes the teleport. Suddenly the rest of the squad is there. Equalizer is decent damage, but not a ton. Santorin, though, has to be afraid of this one. Ignar shows up, and they have the damage to kill off Niski. The tower dive works long-term. Licorice, Vulcan, and the rest of the crew is here. Blabber's going to try, but maybe not very well. There's the knock-up in. There's the kill coming through. Licorice trades back on a Santorin, but the 2-for-1 team fight in the favor of FlyQuest.
And it might not be done. Vulcan is looking because Sven is coming through River. This would be a 3v3.
Well, it goes for the ulti. That's not going to land. Gravitum, yeah, that ult got nerfed a while ago, a couple of months back. No extra range. That you got us on the benefit of going 50 boots, even though you're taking damage. Vulcan is still running really quickly. Ultimately gains nothing. Turtle gets some time to farm back in the bot side. Will get at least one plate. Not quite going to look at 2, but gets a couple of waves with the farm as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to look at this big picture because at first you're thinking, man, Niski's doing such a great job at avoiding this dive. How can FlyQuest keep sending these resources if they're not going to get kills? But then the extension of the play actually ends up favoring FlyQuest, so Niski gets greedy. He prevented the dive. That's all he needed to do, but C9 thought they'd be able to turn a fight, so he dies. Then Blabber jumps on PoE, but Solo and Ignar are actually here this time, so he dies too. It doesn't matter that Licorice gets a kill over the top side. That's a 2-for-1 in an outnumbered fight for FlyQuest. Turtle was actually catching up on CS a little bit down in the bottom side, a game he was completely out of. Turtle actually picks up 2 waves and a turret plate, so while yes, C9 is still winning, that was a slight clawback by FlyQuest.
Yeah, it's a bit. The gold lead now under 1,000, but the one thing FlyQuest didn't do at that time, though they did have it, they didn't look for the Drake. It had spawned by then, but they said, no, we're going to take the resets, going to make sure we're the strong enough player on the map, and it means Cloud9 are on double Drake right now. Now, of course, those of you who tend to only watch the finals or don't track a whole lot between seasons, individual Drakes are a lot weaker in 2020, so that just 2-0 Drake lead isn't hugely important, but the fact that they're only 9 minutes away from Dragon Soul is pretty concerning.
Exactly. It is the Dragon Soul, and it's the threat of Dragon Soul that is the main benefit of picking up these early Drakes, almost as a form of insurance or to keep open a win condition later on in the game. One really unique thing about this one is just how low CS the mid lane has become. PoE at 118, 14 minutes in, is actually low for him. So imagine what 84 at 14 minutes is over on Niski.
Yeah.
He has been getting completely camped. Niski has not been a CS player this split whatsoever, and it almost always has been in benefit of C9. What will be interesting, though, is how threatening and influential can his equalizers be in the mid and late game, because it'll really show if what FlyQuest has done to Niski will end up mattering in terms of turrets, in terms of objectives. It actually hasn't given him that much, but it's something we have to track.
Yeah, I really do want to point out and specifically track how this Rumble is doing. The first big power spike obviously is Leandri's Torment being done. He needs another 500 or so gold till that item comes through, so that's a gold income point to track. The other one is level 11 for rank 2 equalizer, is a big deal, and he just hit 10. Then he just hit Power People in the face and forced the flash down as Licorice roams over. So that's an ulti burn for a flash. We'll take that every single time. Cloud9 gets some control over mid.
Yeah, and with that mid pressure, you immediately see Vulcan and Blabber starting to move through the top river. One thing that C9 has been doing this game is putting far more resources onto Sven intentionally. They had the Rift Herald drop bottom lane. They're giving him frequent solo time in lane. Notice how he's level 10 as an 80 carry. And they're just moving through that river, pushing Santorin back and taking more and more control of the jungle.
Big damage there in Santorin. Now, Leandri's rank 2 ult wouldn't have killed at that point anyway, but you can see the damage they can do so far. Now, Blabber knocked up. Nice little engage by Ignar. Good follow through by Wild Turtle. Drops Blabber to 1/3, and now Pee-wee is here to say, hey, this is my blue buff. Hands off it. I want the mana regen. Gonna let it reset first, though, and make sure mid lane can stay under control. That's being pushed in. Solo also on the play. Niski is gonna be knocked up. Does have heal, does have flash, but here comes the squad. Stun landed. Ulti in for Blabber. No easy answer just yet as Santorin puts the shield up. Solo holds the aggro. And it's FlyQuest again, finding ways to win team fights. But the gold isn't really getting any closer. Sven puts a lot of damage down to the top-hand side. That turret's down to 1/3 health.
I want to see FlyQuest's game plan in this game. Plan A, gank mid. Plan B, gank mid. Plan C, gank mid. Because that seems to be the only thing they're doing. And it's kind of working for them as they burn more summoners on Niski, get a kill onto Blabber, and keep this game within 1,000 gold.
But you can see there's still differences spreading across the map. It's a 30 CS lead now for the bot laners. The Aphelios getting farther and farther ahead. Do want to note that Sven is going for a slightly lower DPS build. Essence Reaver is actually more of an oddity than the Infinity Edge build is a bit more common. This lets him be better at casting spells, but it can do a couple of weird things because you want IE in the build, you want Hurricane in the build, and you want Phantom Dancer in the build. Yep. He's going to have to basically pass one of those, but all three are important in their own ways.
Yeah, I think we've seen a huge trend towards the Infinity Edge Hurricane build, even if it started as Essence Reaver, and we're just going to have to see how this plays out. If there's a clutch fight where Sven gets an extra Gravitum route because he has the Essence Reaver, or if his ultimate comes off cooldown and he uses it right away, then benefit Essence Reaver. But from a raw DPS perspective, almost everyone settled on Infinity Edge Hurricane as the dominant build, so interesting how Sven chose elsewise.
Well, we are getting back on the map, though, as the builds are pushing forwards. Then, of course, going for IE second. There isn't an Essence build in the world where you don't do that. It's just always optimal. FlyQuest, though, still looking for some aggressive plays, right? You can see Ignar well past the halfway point of the map, puts a deep ward down, looks for a couple more to do as he can't stop Blabber from taking down this Wolf camp with a Herald buff in inventory. He's going to summon that now because it's time to fight for Drake number 3. The gold difference, only 1,400. This is a winnable fight on both sides. I want to see how it plays out. Okay,
watch Wild Turtle. He has been getting caught a lot this series. He needs to have a good fight here, and watch where the Equalizer goes. FlyQuest does not want to get caught inside a Cataclysm and Equalizer.
Herald charge is not knocked down mid lane turret either. That is still a small bastion of safety for the FlyQuest side. Mid gets cleared, but FlyQuest cleared it first. They are again in somewhat control of the bottom river. The question is, how will Poke go? Bit of damage towards Vulcan drops him. Most injured member of the player base right now.
Well, they just snuck into river to get front door on the dragon. They've swapped who's controlling mid and who has river control.
Oh, but they found CC onto Blabber and shut him down instantly. Here comes the dive. FlyQuest need this fight, and they may have just found it. Vulcan's pushed out. Niski saved the backline. Equalizer over the top is a lot of work. Solo drops low. There's the first kill. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Ooh. Flashes to safety, but I've seen this before. Aatrox in the bot river finds a double kill, and Licorice not shy about that engage. It's Cloud9 take the fight 3-1, and this Drake is theirs.
C9 fights. That was a fight where Blabber got completely destroyed before it even happened. And a lot of teams will lose their sorts after that happens to their main initiation threat. But as FlyQuest moved into River, it turned. So watch this one more time. Blabber's out of control work, so he feels like he should be safe. PoE lands a blind QE into an Ignore stun. That is a great start. The combo even onto the rest of them, you're thinking, damn, Solo's in there. He's got the knock-up on his Ven. But look at Niski, level 11 and Leandris. They didn't shut him down enough. The ult completely shreds. It means Licorice is able to turn around. Sven, I'm not 100% sure if that cooldown came back up sooner because of the Essence Reaver, but he lands an amazing route, and they win that fight 3-1.
And off we go to the races. Cloud9 looking to make it a 3-0 in the final to complete the most dominant LCS split ever. It's looking likely. Gold lead 2,500 at 20 minutes. That's a good one. 3 Drakes to 0. That's going to feel real comfortable on top of that one, especially when you look at FlyQuest. Are trying to play a little bit bursty with this composition, right? It's Pantheon, Syndra, and a Mountain Soul is going to feel really good running that as a win condition.
It's a pretty good Drake for C9 to have. Honestly, almost all the Drakes are pretty good. Even if they had something like Cloud or Niski, they'd be able to make so much use of it. And in terms of where the gold is centered in this game, having a lot of kills on the Aatrox is actually super clutch for C9, especially if you can complete that Death's Dance. First off, FlyQuest doesn't want to use all their burst on Aatrox because they need to be able to kill Rumble and Aphelios. Secondly, it is just harder to burst the Aatrox even if they want to, knowing that he has a lot of the gold. And this is a rather early Baron.
Wow.
If they can sneak this
early on, there's no way.
Series.
There's no way they even know. They're not even gonna check, right? This is just gone. This is Cloud9 taking a 21-minute Baron uncontested, and we might have the Red Bull power play be championship victory for Cloud9.
Oh boy, Freak. It comes down to this one. We talked about C9's history not winning a title since 2014 spring. That original run between 2013 summer, where they were 30-3, and 2014 spring, when they were 29-4, is really the most dominant a team had ever been domestically in North America. C9's been through a title drought. They've been close so many times throughout the years, making so many finals and just falling short. And right now, with the chance to finish the split at 26-2, which would be better than any of those prior C9 splits, would mean so much to this organization, considering they switched out 2 players from last year. They moved Blabber into the full-time starting role. He won the MVP, and now they are on the precipice of another title.
There we go. Licorice pushing down to the bottom lane. The rest of the Cloud9 squad showing up to knock down their next turret. They already knocked down mid-outer. Bot lane tier 2 is going to be a formality. 5,000 gold lead will grow by about 10% as that one falls. And Cloud9 look for the next objective as Blabber's ready to stay towards the front. Going to move the Aatrox back over. It's going to be about maximizing gold income. And Baron buff is going to end the exact same time that that 4th and final Drake is going to spawn. I want to see how Cloud9 plays around that. Do they value the reset and buying items? Do they value staying on the map the whole time? I want to see what happens. There's still 1 minute and 20 to go until they make that decision.
Yeah, this is also one of those Baron buffs that doesn't have to end the game. They know they have that the Mountain Soul coming up in 1 minute and 15 seconds, and for the most part, I think they're just trying to accrue gold. You can even see a little bit of defensive itemization coming in from Sven, guarding against a loss, and here goes FlyQuest.
The attempt towards Blabber. Ult goes over the top and dives right back out, and Santorin cannot escape the fire and fury of the Cloud9 team fight. That's going to be a rough one for FlyQuest. Not unlocks the push FlyQuest not going to be able to fight 4v5, especially with Ignar's ulti down, but they're going to try with Solo getting a knockup, but already stopped and hooked back in and played back in and killed and sent back to the fountain. Cloud9 are now 5v3 on the map. And the power play continues as they knock down the inhibitor turret. The inhibitor going to drop as well. Still 35 seconds left on this, as well as the wait. So this comes up. Power of Evil's got to be respectful. Hook almost predicted correctly. And this might be the Cloud9 reset. They're going to kite backwards. They find the root. And the flash over for the double chase down. Blabber gets himself a double. And it's 5 versus 2. They're ready to keep going. The flares keep going up. And C9 are going for the Nexus turrets. The respawn still 10 seconds away. They will find that first Nexus turret. And they will push
out of minions.
But they are out of minions. They're not going to claim this one just yet. They will only claim gold in all but the victory. Cloud9 assuredly must be lifting the trophy at the end of this game.
Oh man, that's what they're all thinking right now. They wanted to end that game. You could see Niski behind the wall with his flash up, waiting for that play. Who cares about lane CS? Niski wants the Nexus, but they need to wait one more push. They need to keep calm heads because, as you mentioned, the dragon difference, the mountain soul, everything is pointing towards an almost certain C9 victories, but they still got to do it. Watching this fight one more time, you could see FlyQuest would not go quietly. They wanted to fight their way out of the deficit rather than getting bled out. It doesn't work though. C9 turns around quickly onto Solo. Sven is untouched. And then, like, PoE is doing everything he can to threaten as much as possible to try and save Nexus turrets. If this hook lands, maybe that's the game. But once the hook lands, PoE thinks he has safety. Niski's over the wall after he lands his harpoon. That guarantees that he's slow. We even got a root coming in from Sven after I believe he tagged him with Infernum to activate with the Gravitum root. And more and more strength build up. Oh, it was ulti. More and more strength builds up for C9 as they now have the Mountain Soul.
I mean, he is Essence Reaver build, right? Essence Reaver plus a Cloud Drake with a lot of ulti CDR, able to kind of spam that one a bit more than maybe was predicted, and, you know, catches the engage. That allows him to get more of it. Sven gets the Lantern, gets the mid lane tier 2. Mountain Soul keeps Cloud9 incredibly safe. This is all but over. The most dominant team in LCS history. It's looking like Cloud9's 2020 Spring Split roster. All 5 players were first team All-Pro. The top 3 MVP votes was their mid laner, their support, and their AD carry. Blabber took home that trophy himself, but Niski and Sven right behind him, and now it's just time to finish the rest of the game. Turtle is hooked. There's the Lantern, there's the Flay, there's the chase in for Blabber. Turtle stays safe, Santorin shows up, Ignar buys time, and it's FlyQuest staying alive, but their wings certainly broken as Cloud9 look to push down more of these waves.
I hate to say it, but I think they're going to play for Baron. Unless FlyQuest over-engage and lose.
They're going to at least engage, but Sven, crucially, flashes away from the engage in time to not be cut out and begin the comeback for the opposition in Game 3 of the final. So he's going to stay safe. Flash down is something, but Licorice going to clear out this wave, and we're 25 seconds away from Baron spawning.
Yes, we are. The Hurricane will be very soon in Sven's inventory. That'll be very, very high DPS actualization for him on the Aphelios. He has stayed safe this game, something Wild Turtle could not do in his Aphelios games. Cloud9, time and time again, taking your picks, beating you with them, and also pulling out a little bit of their own flavor, looking to end this one.
Okay, there's the flash play, going for the kill instead. Santorin forced to flash out to safety, and he will stay alive, but Vulcan still wants in, just walks up for the hook. He's gonna catch that one. Solo finds the knockout.
Oh, they killed
Here
Sven.
comes the fight, and they have shut down Sven. That is a huge pickup, but is it gonna be enough? Licorice fighting back in the backline. Santorin's gonna drop as well, and can you kill anyone else on Cloud9? It's 2 answered kills. Stopwatch burn for Ignar. Flay's gonna let him just barely walk away, but Turtle is gonna fall as Licorice continues to chase. It's a 3-for-1 team fight, and it might be a 4th. Licorice is still trying to find a bit more into Ignar. He's gonna stab him in the back. And a 4-for-1 team fight. They don't need the Baron. They need to push down the base. They just needed one team fight, and they got it. Solo is the only thing standing in the way of Cloud9 lifting the trophy, and it's not gonna be enough.
He's trying to stall as much as possible.
He's got respawns in 10 seconds. It's tanky, man. Redemption helps build the time, though, and that is Niski on a rampage. Santorin's back alive, but the Nexus turrets are going to fall. Santorin goes for minions, then back to the engage. The bot lane's alive in 5 seconds, but they will not stop it. Cloud9 waited 6 years, and they will hoist the trophy again. For all 5 players, the first time in their careers, the Nexus falls, Licorice deals the killing blow, and Cloud9 win the 2020 LCS Spring Split.
Cloud9 now finds himself on the wrong side of the enemy walls. Or are they? Facebreaker into Haymaker! Licorice is on a killing spree.
You know, he's not back here, so C9 says, what? Oh my
The
God!
kick in! You gotta be kidding me, Blabber!
Damn, Blabber. That kick was so nutty.
Explosive cast sends him in. Huni nearly dies to ignite.
Oh,
What a
whoa!
flash ult for Niski! Bullet time over the top. 3-for-0 in the blink of an eye.
Cloud9 will shred the members of CLG. Spence got that flamethrower and he just burns them all to a crisp. A triple kill for the AD carry from Cloud9. It's Pike finding the spot with the axe. He is just more money in the pocket of Cloud9's support. Punished him in open ground. C9 4 for 9.
Absolutely incredible showing all year long for Cloud9. They hoist the trophy in the 2020 LCS Spring Split. And this was a season that was started by the most expensive player trade in the history of esports. Cloud9 started the offseason by buying out Vulcan and kind of using that as a cornerstone to rebuild the team. And the result was the best LCS team in history.
Yeah, it's been an incredible ride from Cloud9. Congratulations to the whole organization trading away the defending MVP in Svenskeren to make space for the next generation, which was Blabber, who was the MVP of this split. And while we built up the storylines of you never know when the unanimous favorite is actually going to lose, because that's always going to be in the back of your head, especially as a C9 fan, after how close this organization has come to winning a title year after year after year. But this C9 was different. They were so motivated. They were so sharp in facing all of the adversity we had during this split. This was an LCS split like no other from week 8 on, completely changing their competitive play environment. And it was maybe like a week where C9 didn't look like they were peak performers. They steamrolled the regular season. Yeah. They steamrolled the playoffs. You said it during the cast. I've been saying it. This makes them, within NA, the most dominant split in LCS history if you look at their win percentage. And just congratulations to C9 in such an absurdly strange split to be so consistent and so good.
Absolutely massive for them. Nothing but kudos and props to